There are lots of things I didn't tell him that I could have said, or things I could have experienced with him. He was only 19 when he was killed. He never experienced anything. Things I never got to tell him that I never will. Experience I should have had with him. Our conversations, we were really good friends, and I would give anything for just one more hour with him. Just to hear how it was in Shejaiya.
9 soldiers, 9 families, and endless yearning. Nearly a year and a half after the IDF Shejaiya disaster, the families of the 9 fallen soldiers are meeting and embarking on a journey of remembrance. Their first stop in Givat Kobi in Sderot. From here, you can see the ruins of Gaza City.
We were at home and Rom was with us in front of the TV. He realized that a war was starting. He put on his uniform and said to me, "I'm going to Tel Nov." I told him, "I'll take you." And his little brother, Ori, asked him, "Where are you going?" And he said, "I'm going to defend the country."
There was something reassuring. All the rookies, they hadn't finished training, but they were dropped off in the south. They were happy about that. But we said, okay, even if they were sent down south, they won't go in. Moshe, in his first role as a company commander, a few days before that, they said that there was a possibility of visiting them in Ofakim.
On October the 7th, both of my sons joined their units, and I, just like a mother, told them, "Wait, you weren't called up." They said, "We're in the units. They don't call up. We're coming." By noon, the younger son was liberating Re'im camp. I was calm because they were in sort of special units and it was kind of less dangerous.
He told me, "Mom, don't worry. I haven't finished basic training yet. We'll be exchanging soldiers mostly in Hebron, in Nablus, not in Gaza. It's not for us." And I haven't seen him since. And I personally didn't even know he was in Gaza.
The story of the battle for Shejaiya has been covered in the media many times, but much is still hidden.
It started on Friday, when they received an order to clear houses in a neighborhood in Shejaiya. Then they simply went in an orderly manner from house to house. Almost every house had fighting gear, weapons, ammunition. That's how they cleaned on foot. You couldn't bring tanks in. So they were a company on their own, a new company, a young one. They had just received their berets there in the assembly grounds. That Tuesday afternoon, around 4:15, they arrived at the house in question. At that moment of the encounter, there was just one platoon, 12 soldiers.
The covering force called for help. Scared that the wounded soldiers would be abducted, through a tunnel shaft, additional forces were called in, creating a situation where the soldiers from different units of different ranks found themselves in the heart of the battle.
Even Tomer, who was the last to be killed, when he broke into the house, he knew there were bodies of soldiers there who could have been snatched. So there was serious chaos. Maybe if they hadn't thought there was a tunnel there, then maybe they would have handled it differently. I don't know. It's wisdom in hindsight.
We got up and went to the door. The 3 of us stood and opened the door. They come in and stood. The 3 of them stood in front of the 3 of us and just stared and don't speak. And it was seconds that seemed like an eternity. And I just remember that at some point, after a few seconds, I said, "Well, tell me," really screaming. And that's the stage when you can't hear or see anything. And you just have to look for some place to sit for a moment so you don't fall. Then they told us it was Tomer, and that's it.
When I opened the door, the first thing I asked was, which one of them? We didn't know. Then they told us it was Tomer, and that's it. It's hard when you have 2 kids.
There was a knock on the door and I told her, "Don't open the door, don't open the door." But she panicked and opened the door and she just fell. And from that moment on, I didn't even hear what they said. I said, "My daughter's not okay." And from that moment on, I just concentrating on having to help her. I think it was some kind of mechanism for me to a moment to detach myself from the event. A few minutes later, my other son called and said, "Mom, hang in there. I'm on my way to you." When he came home with his uniform and his huge eyes, he said to me, "Mom, we're not giving up."
We immigrated to Israel. It was like we arrived in Israel after the wars. We are the first generation. We heard about the bereaved families. We heard about the Memorial Day, but it was something very, very distant and foreign. Moshe was the first soldier in all the generations of the families on both sides. And for us to be a bereaved family, it's sad to say, but bereavement is like the Israeliness of the state of Israel. It's an entry ticket into the world of being Israeli, but like...
Everyone here, until this happened to them, nobody here was a bad person. They were all good people. Our feeling is as if he is telling us, yes, you were good people, but my will is that I want you to be better people.